Okay.
Wait, now we can't hear you.
It's
You
rock
idiot.
and roll.
You got to put it in. Got to put the.
You can't hear me?
Now we can.
Now I can hear you.
Well, then why were you lying? Why were you lying about not hearing me?
Because we couldn't for a second. And let me rest assured, talk as loud as you want. It won't help if we can't hear you.
Check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yes.
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 All right,
Can you
let's
hear
do it.
me?
Let's just do it, and we'll see what. This is going to be the lost episode. I'm sure of it. I can feel it in my bones.
You got to do something about your
Yes.
connection, Matt.
I don't know what the hell it is. I'm like
Because
directly.
you often have like the voice lag, remember?
Yeah,
But he's
I don't
on the
know.
router. He's like has the router in his
I'm like
ass.
directly. It is directly in my ass. Crushes. When you were a teenager, perhaps you can recall that butterfly feeling you got in your stomach that inexplicably traveled elsewhere for some unknown reason. And that feeling, it wasn't just reserved for that cute girl who sat in front of you in the English class or the captain of the football team. Gen X teens, like us, seem to be obsessed with our pop culture icons, whether they were cool or sexy or hip or rad. We had crushes on them, and we weren't afraid to show it on our t-shirts, in our posters on our lockers, inscribed on the outside of our Trapper Keepers. From Karate Kid's Ralph Macchio to Material Girl's Madonna, from Fast Times at Ridgemont High's Phoebe Cates to Breakfast Club's Judd Nelson, they all had the goods, and we wanted those goods, whatever those goods happened to be, because maybe we didn't completely understand it yet, but we were about to. They were attractive because they were talented, musical, or just plain attractive. So let's get physical in a very non-threatening teenage crush kind of way and talk about our early pop culture crushes today on Solve for Gen X. And there's the music. Welcome to Solve for Gen X. I am Matt Vogel, Generation X 1970.
I'm Ashley Ward, Generation X 1972.
Nate Starkey, 1971.
We're talking about our early pop culture crushes and maybe sexual awakenings, and who knows what we're gonna bring in somebody from another generation here in a little bit. But you know what, Nate, you're gonna start. So let's tell us about your crushes.
I did have a crush on Madonna,
Who
especially
didn't?
I didn't
like
really.
she had the very sexual videos, and I think we've even talked about this before in another one. She had that one with the peeping booth thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you know
I
what
had a
song
crush
that
on
Yes.
Madonna.
Oh, dude,
You
is
did?
that "Don't You Lie to Me"? No,
Is
no.
it
Yeah,
Express Yourself?
Express yourself.
I don't think
Oh,
it's
no,
Express
Open Your
Yourself,
Heart.
is it?
Oh,
Open Your
it's
Heart.
Open Your Heart. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what it is. That's a good
I
video.
was
Yeah, that's
singing,
a good
I was
video.
That is a
clearly
good
singing.
one.
Yeah, that is a good video.
Yeah, so that was pretty racy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a teen boy to oh, this is sexuality on TV. So I definitely had a Madonna crush. But so in contrast to you ladies, my friends and I do not fight over who gets to be with Madonna. You know?
Well, that's
We're
totally
just-
different because she's not in a band. Everyone can have a crush on Madonna at the same time. You don't understand the dynamics.
No,
I
we
guess
don't.
not.
That's the point.
I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, and it really is just like it. You were in it or you weren't, and there's really no
I know.
other aspect.
If you understand, you understand.
Yeah.
If you know,
Okay,
you know.
so I'll say this. So I'm gonna go back to okay, let's go back. So on Buck Rogers, there was an actress named
Aaron
Oh, yeah.
Gray.
Aaron Gray. Yeah.
I remember being in love with Aaron Gray, and then she was on Silver Spoons, and with Ricky Schroeder and whoever the other guy was, the dad.
That man.
So I remember Aaron Gray was oh my God, she's so beautiful.
I thought you were gonna say Tweaky, the little robot guy, voiced by Mel Blanc. Yeah, the thing for robots.
So in that vein, also Donna Dixon. who was on
Uh,
Bosom Buddies.
Was my
And
dad's
like,
big crush. Married to Dan Aykroyd in Spies
yes,
Like Us.
she had a very like Marilyn Monroe thing going on. Like just like something about the way she talked and like just that kind of sexuality.
mm.
And I met Donna Dixon at SNL After Party when she was still married to Dan Aykroyd, and they were married for years and years and years.
Are
And
they
now
divorced?
they're no longer together. Isn't that crazy?
That's
I mean,
crazy.
you can double check that, but
They were together like 40 years or more.
yeah, really long time.
We need to have a fact checker.
Yeah,
That's what we
well,
need.
which I can do in editing, or Ashley's doing it in real time, which is even better.
I'm taking a little, trying to get to it fast, but I can't do it.
But that was interesting because that was a
39 years.
example.
They split.
So like, I didn't like talk to her really, but I was in the same room with her, and that's really interesting because she was like this sex pot, and when I saw her in real life, much years, decades later, she was just like this pleasant-looking mom. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
No longer sex pot, but this is like a pleasant-looking mom. Anyway, so those were interesting ones to me that I thought of. I had the posters. I had the Heather Locklear and the Heather Thomas posters.
Heather Locklear. I forgot about Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were the big posters. Those two. Wait, which one is the one that was like on TV?
The biggest one was like the Farrah
Heather
Fawcett.
Locklear. The Farrah Fawcett was the like.
That was like the iconic one from the 70s, right? That,
yeah.
Right. I feel like that one predates me a little bit.
Heather
me
Locklear's
too.
like T.J. Hooker. I mean, she just like went from show to show.
Heather Thomas was more just like a pinup queen. She was on like the fall. She was on something.
I think she's on the Fall Guy. I think you're right.
Fall
like
Guy.
some like 80s sitcom-y something.
But she was more of just like or
not
Heather
sitcom.
Thomas. Matt, Heather Thomas.
Yeah. She was on the Fall Guy. That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember her poster? I thought she had
I don't remember her poster, but I do feel like I remember the Heather Locklear poster for sure.
And I definitely remember the Farrah Fawcett poster, but I just always she always felt like much older to me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, oh, this sexy lady that is older, that's like from a different. Even then, it was like
it felt like a different generation.
Yeah.
Was this the Heather Thomas poster that you had?
Yes. Yes. Matt,
like
do you not remember this?
I don't remember that one, but there's a very similar one for Heather Locklear. Like a white bikini or something like that. I think.
Oh, I don't think I remember that one.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so here's like more. I'll go more obscure. There was a movie called Night of the Comet. And it was about a comet hitting the world, and
Heather Locklear.
Yeah,
that's not the one I'm thinking.
That's not the one I'm thinking of either, but it's
definitely a bikini one.
It's a good one.
Okay.
It was about a comet hitting, and then like it turned people to zombies. It was like a zombie movie and an apocalyptic movie. Maybe it wasn't a zombie movie.
I remember it. It was, like a comet was going to hit. They were at a movie theater. They worked at a movie theater. And it was
they were like trapped in the mall.
And then it did.
Zombies.
It caused people to be zombies or something like that. They were like trapped in this location and they realized, oh my gosh, like, and it was like one of them worked at the movie theater. At least one of them did. I remember it.
Or movie theater.
It was scary.
So there was a young blonde cheerleader type in that movie who took her shirt off and she was just like in her bra, and that was like, oh man. And she was
she
also
the star?
Yes, but she wasn't the main. She was like co-star. It was like an ensemble piece.
Yeah.
But she was also in Fast Times at Ridgemont High as a cheerleader.
Oh.
She kind of was like cast as a cheerleader in several movies.
Never made the squad though in high school.
Yeah.
That had to hurt.
That's not great.
I remember that. I feel like mine are not very good.
No, they are good.
As far as rock, like pop star types, talk about Madonna. That was it. Kind of like there wasn't a whole lot more. I mean, there were like women that were much older that were like I found like Morgan Freeman.
I'm sorry. What?
Morgan Fairchild.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Did
I
you have
remember Morgan Fairchild.
that poster of Morgan Freeman in a Speedo, like going like this? Yeah. That was a big popular poster of Morgan Freeman.
The band Rats. They all had great makeup and great hair, very sexy.
Yeah.
Morgan Fairchild, yes,
Morgan
another one that my
Morgan
dad
That was
loved.
more like, oh, this is a
Yeah.
TV show my parents are watching, and I'm in the room and I'm intrigued by this sexy lady.
It's like Knots Landing, was she on? Or Falcon Crest, one of those jams?
Of course, Phoebe Cates, yeah. I mean, these
Right.
are all real obvious ones. I actually find the more obscure ones kind of interesting to see if other people know what I'm
more
talking
obscure
about.
ones are my favorite.
Yeah, well, get ready because mine are probably not that. Mine are not obscure.
You don't have any memories of those obscure ones?
Well, I do. Yeah, I do. But this one was a really hard one for me. Do you have any more, Nate, or should I go on?
I mean, I'm sure I do, but yeah.
I know that Ashley has like a ton of these,
my
I'm
welcome
sure.
long ago.
Well, I guess this was just like, I don't know why this was hard. Maybe I repressed my pop culture crushes or something. I don't know. But what I do remember is having an Olivia Newton-John Greatest Hits Volume 2 vinyl record. It had a gatefold. And so it opened up, and in was Olivia Newton-John, and she was like laying back with her arm kind of above her head, and I just would listen.
Wait, it's not the physical.
It's not the physical album.
It's Greatest Hits.
The Greatest Hits Volume 2, and I just remember listening to her Volume 2 hits like Hopelessly Devoted to You from Grease and Magic and Xanadu. I think those are both from Xanadu. And of course Physical, that was on that record as well. And I remember I remember like looking at that gatefold in the album and kind of being like just like feelings maybe I didn't quite get, didn't quite understand. And yes, like actors like Phoebe Cates and Elizabeth Shue. I liked Elizabeth Shue. I thought she was super cute. And I loved Jennifer Grey in Dirty Dancing. I thought she was adorable, and I kind of crushed on her a little bit. But here are some.
You're a little old now. These aren't really. You're not a teenager.
They're older. I know. Well, no, I am.
He's
I
a
think
teen.
that was like
He's
that
still a
was
teen.
19.
For Elizabeth
Dirty
Shue?
Dancing. Yeah, Dirty Dancing.
Adventures in Baby, or like.
Yeah,
for,
that was like
Adventures in Baby City.
1986 or 7 or something. And
Yeah.
Dirty Dancing I was a senior in high school, so I was still a teenager.
That's normal.
But
well, yeah. So like for Elizabeth Shue, like so she was like really pretty cute. Oh yeah, because Karate Kid.
Yes.
But then
Kid,
when she did like Leaving Las Vegas and like got all sexy, and it's like, are you serious? My teen crush is getting nasty.
How did this happen? Yeah. But let's see. And then there were a couple that I thought of while you were mentioning some, Nate. So, Gilligan's Island. I was not really as into Ginger as I was Marianne. I was a Marianne kid.
They say you're one or the other. You're one or the other.
I loved Dawn Wells.
Ginger's almost like a grandma, kind of. She's like, she seems so old and like from a different generation, right?
Yes, but she was, glamorous and movie starry, but that just wasn't I didn't connect to that as much. Yeah. And then Brady Bunch, I would think that I think that it would have been Marsha. It would have been Marsha for sure.
If you said Cindy, I would have like called 911.
I know, no, it wasn't that.
Cindy was the same age.
Yeah, probably, but it definitely was Marsha. I think I saw them in reruns, and so it would have been that. And then here's one that I just thought of, and it might be along the lines of like an older person, but Somewhere in Time, Jane Seymour. Do you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's just so pretty in that movie.
Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Great. I love her, but I don't remember having like feelings about any of them. Beyond thinking like they were cute and talented, and maybe that's like how that crush manifested for me. Maybe it wasn't like as much like a sexual urge.
Yeah.
I did ask Kelly Like I was like, hey, do you have any crushes as a teenager? And she rattled off names like she had literally been thinking about all of them that moment. She was like, oh, Ralph Macchio and Michael J. Fox and River Phoenix and Jason Bateman and Ricky Schroeder. And we're like, what the
It's
Like
easy?
she
Okay.
like pulled a piece of paper out of her pocket.
She did. It was like that. It was, I mean, she was just like bang, bang, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, how do you, I couldn't really remember names like that. I really had to think about it. And I didn't even think of, like half of those until hearing you, Nate, talk
Well,
about
now
some of
as you're
those.
talking, I'm thinking of more too. Like
Like who?
Jennifer Jason Lee
Oh, yeah.
from Fast Times.
Yep.
Well, Phoebe Cates we mentioned already, but both
Yeah,
of them. Like,
absolutely.
I wonder if you're a Phoebe Cates or a Jennifer Jason Lee type. No, but probably most
Oof.
guys are both, right?
Yeah, I think so. Because, yeah, she's pretty cute in that. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
also, who's she was in The Outsiders, Cherry in Outsiders.
Diane Lane.
Diane Lane.
Ooh,
Oh, man.
yeah. Or Jennifer Connelly in
Labyrinth.
Labyrinth.
In
Yeah.
or Ione Sky and Say Anything. I think a lot of guys liked her in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
A movie that I feel like was this touchstone for Gen X people of like everyone loved it. I did not. Did not.
Say anything.
Which one? Oh, Say Anything?
Yeah.
Why?
I liked it all right.
Because I did not agree with the premise that Ione Sky was that Ione Sky's character was like this be all end all girl, and it drove me crazy that this really interesting guy was like bending over backwards to get with this girl who I thought was kind of a jerk and a dud.
Yeah.
And so it annoyed me, which has nothing to do with if the movie is good or not. It has to do with how I felt about the logic of the movie.
Well, it does. It has to do with the movie, I would say.
I was just like,
It's
this
the
is
premise.
dumb. I was like, oh, he thinks this girl's so great. Like, okay, whatever.
Well, who were your crushes then, Ashley?
Oh,
Who
boy.
did you
Well,
have?
now you're
we
opening
go.
a can of worms. So the first one I remember, and I think there were probably some before this too, because like there almost definitely were. The first one I really remember strongly is the Fonz.
Hey.
Perfect
yeah.
sense.
I bet a lot of your Gen
Yeah.
X women.
Yeah. He was definitely the first big crush I had. And there was actually a kid in my first grade named Marcus Proctor, and he wore in first grade a lot. He wore a Fonzie T-shirt that had like a picture drawing of Fonzie, and it was like, "Hey!"
I had that T-shirt. My
Yep.
brother and I had that T-shirt.
It made me like I remember having tender feelings towards Marcus Proctor purely because of that shirt. And I mean, he was a nice guy, and I liked him also. But
Did you say his name was Marcus Proxy?
Proctor,
He was like because he was like the proxy for Fonzie.
he was a Fonzie proxy.
He was your proxy.
Proctor Proxy.
Prior to
Yeah.
that, like I think I did have a little crush on like Sean Cassidy, Donny Osmond, but those were much more minor. Like Fonzie looms large in terms of my early crushes.
Did you ever meet Henry Winkler?
I have met Henry Winkler,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
he was
And how
super
did that
nice. I met
go?
him as an older man, much older. Like this was only a few years ago.
Henry Winkler is so nice. I feel like everyone's met him. He just
I'm dying
seems
to
like-
meet him. I want to meet
It was
him.
a weird circumstance that I met him under. We got to do this like essentially it was because of Barry, because he was an acting coach on Barry, the TV show Barry.
Oh yeah.
And they did this like Vulture Fest or something like that, like Vulture, the website. And they asked some people, hey, would you do a scene of your choosing and he'll coach you, like he'll acting coach you. And so Bridget got this job and was like, hey, do you want to do this with me? And I was like, yes. We did a scene from Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, I think, or whatever the name of that movie is. And he was great. I mean, he was really good. He was like kind of harsh and like intense, but he was super nice, and I liked him a lot.
Yeah. I met Henry Winkler on the set of The Water
The Water
Boy.
Boy.
I was
I
being
believe
a
you've mentioned
production
this.
assistant. Oh, in another
Wow.
episode?
You have, yeah. No, it's
Did-
okay.
Wait, you did mention it in another episode?
I think so. I'm trying to
I don't
remember
remember it.
why it was. It was something. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought so. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, but just why? I'm just backing up that he's very nice. He was very concerned. I was working as a PA, making sure the people in the stands of the football game were like entertained in between shots, and he, in between the shots, instead of doing whatever he, resting or whatever,
he was wanted to entertain them with me, and like, oh, that person didn't
Aw,
get a T-shirt, and that person didn't get a T-shirt, and like,
that's so nice.
oh, he's so nice.
I
And
really want to
no
meet
one has
him.
ever said no one has ever said that Henry Winkler's
I,
not nice.
I
I have,
know.
yeah, I don't think so. I just
Uh,
sent you in the chat. I just sent you the picture of my brother and I in
oh
our
my God.
Fonzie t-shirts. Jason, it looks like, has a blue one, and I have a green one. And
Marcus
you'll
had a
see
white
a white
one. Oh
one.
my
And tell me if
God.
it's the same
So
image.
good. Yes, this is it.
It's
This
the
is
same image,
it.
right? That's crazy.
What?
That's
That's the one.
Same image, exactly the
wow.
same. In fact, I think it's in one of my elementary school yearbooks. The pic, because he wore it for his
Ooh,
yearbook picture.
nice.
Um,
Nice.
That's fantastic.
but yeah. So then the second one that I remember very strongly is a weird one. The guy who played Carmine Raguso, the big Ragu on Laverne and Shirley.
Eddie Mecca. That's Eddie Mecca.
Nice.
You know
Wow.
I'd go from rags to riches. That's what he would always sing, like on
Oh,
his
yeah.
entrance and exit. He had an entrance
Oh,
and
my
exit song.
gosh.
Don't know why I loved him, but I did. John Travolta in Grease, big one. Then like I don't really remember too many in this middle area, but then like obviously we've discussed Duran Duran ad nauseum, so all of Duran Duran I loved.
Yeah.
I had a huge crush on Michael J. Fox, huge. Michael Keaton.
Was
I had
it
a little,
from like starting with Family Ties?
Family Ties.
yeah. That was when it started, was Family Ties, and I was just
Wow.
like obsessed, loved him,
Justine
and then
Bateman
everything
is.
he was in.
Oh, Justine Bateman. Yeah,
That's a
Justine
valid
Bateman.
one.
She's
And
yeah.
Justin Bateman shops at the same grocery store as me. I've seen her several times. Been in line right behind her. talked about football.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
And then
I talked about football with Justine Bateman.
That's pretty cool.
yeah, what do you want us to do?
I said it was cool.
We're
FYI,
super
also,
impressed.
I'm very drunk today.
No,
We
I'm
can
not.
tell.
I did have a beer at lunch though.
Oh, okay. So let's see. Michael J. Fox was huge. Like he was the reason I would buy like Tiger Beat and like teeny magazines, was like to get pictures of him. Later was Keanu Reeves, which was that was another huge one that I think eclipsed Michael J. Fox.
Wow.
Then I had some interesting ones. John Malkovich was a big one because of the movie Dangerous Liaisons. That was when I was in high school.
Okay.
A real weird one was Robert De Niro. I got very into Robert De Niro.
From what? From Cape Fear?
Yes.
No, I think it started with.
What was it?
I think it started with I saw Godfather Part 2.
Okay.
And he's like, he plays young Don
Yeah.
Corleone. He's really pretty good looking. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I just became like really compelled by him. Like I thought he was such a good actor and I was so interested in him. He was so interesting looking and I love big noses. As some people know, I have a real attraction to big noses. And he's got a schnoz. He's got a schnoz. But and John Malkovich too also has a fairly big nose. I'm trying to think.
Does
the
he?
thing that's all. Yeah,
Malkovich
like he has a
does?
prominent nose for sure. Liam Neeson, but I don't know if that may have been college by the time I started having a crush on him. I also like Franny, liked Kevin Costner. In Bull Durham, especially, was when I had feelings.
What about Tim Robbins?
No, I was like, that guy's disgusting.
I found
That was
Susan
what I found.
Sarandon was very sexy to me.
She's very
Yeah.
sexy in that movie, or in
Yeah.
the movie The Hunger. If you've ever seen The Hunger, very
Well,
nice movie.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
The things that are interesting to me are the people, and I thought Tom Cruise was cute, but I don't think I was ever like over the moon Tom Cruise. I think like Top Gun
Rebecca
era.
DeHorney.
Rebecca DeHorney for sure. And Kelly
Maybe.
McGillis.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Not
like
Kelly McGillis.
in his Top Gun era, I was very much thought Tom Cruise was cute. In other eras, I was like not that into him. And then Harrison Ford in Star Wars. Han Solo, and then Indiana Jones. But then what was interesting to me were the ones that I never thought C. Thomas Howell was cute. Never really into Ralph Macchio, never into Matt Dillon. Like all the ones that were kind of like
Really?
big ones to be into, I was not having. I was not about it. I liked like a little bit. I mean, Keanu Reeves is obvious. Like River Phoenix did nothing for me. Keanu
So
Reeves.
no Brat
all day.
Pack. No Brat Pack for you.
Kelly liked River Phoenix.
Not yeah, a lot of girls did. I don't know, he just didn't do
But I
it
don't
for
know
me.
why.
Like I'm trying to think. Rob Lowe from Brat Pack. I was very into Rob Lowe. I was very into Judd Nelson. And
Rob
watched
Lowe would have been very into you.
every Judd Nelson movie. Well, he was in Atlanta. I was probably 15 the year that he got in trouble in Atlanta
That's what I'm
at the
saying.
Democratic
boy.
National Convention.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
So you did you like Making the Grade with Judd Nelson?
I never saw that. That was pre-Breakfast Club, I think. And so I didn't know who he was. But I loved the movie From the Hip, where he plays a lawyer. I don't know. I liked, and then I was trying to think. I was like, oh, well, what were the guys who were on SNL when I was in high school that I had crushes on? And I was like, I don't think I had crushes on any of them because I do think I liked a lot of funny types.
It would have been like Mike Myers for you, probably in high school. No, you're older already.
I didn't really have Adam Sandler, but I think that was when I was in college. I definitely had a big crush on Adam Sandler.
Okay.
But yeah, like Phil Hartman, who I love, but I don't think I ever had a crush on him. But like, I definitely feel like I had a crush on Madonna. I don't think I like would have known to quantify it that way at the time because she's a girl. But I definitely was like, whatever's going on here, that is intriguing and interesting, and I want to be a part of that.
How long did that last? Did that last like into college? Did it last beyond that? How long did your fascination with her go?
Probably.
Like, did you watch Truth or Dare? Did you see the Truth or Dare doc?
I definitely
Did you love
did. I did.
Yeah.
It waxed and waned. So like there would be times where I would just be like, this is too much. Like, what is she doing? Like, I'm over this. And then where I would be like, oh my God, she's so interesting and she's so like what an incredible human. I definitely don't listen to her music anymore, like her new music. Oh, Michael Stipe from REM, because I was hugely into REM.
Yep.
In high school. And I'm trying to think of other. Oh, NXS, Michael Hutchence of NXS.
Which you've kind of talked about the music of NXS being really like
very
a
evocative
thing for you. Yeah.
Yes, very like sexual awakening music. Dun, dun, dun. Prince, I definitely had a big crush on Prince.
Jeez.
Again, very like sexual, like being like, what's happening to me?
This is very similar to what you're saying about Kelly, Matt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could go. I could go on for like hours and hours. I won't.
You have reminded me of other people too.
Yeah, because
Leah Thompson.
Because you said Tom Cruise, and Leah Thompson was in Do All the Right Moves with Tom Cruise.
Oh. Because I think of her, I just think of her like becoming aware of her in Back to the Future, where she is super cute as.
Well, she was also in Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yes, a movie similar to Say Anything in the sense of it was a dude who I didn't find cute, Eric Stoltz. No offense, Eric Stoltz, who was chasing after Leah Thompson, who was like the poor girl that had all the rich friends, but everyone was the prettiest girl in school, girl next door. But his best friend was this tomboy, Mary Stuart Masterson, with a short blonde pixie, who was clearly the most beautiful person in the movie.
Yeah,
and they do end up together at the end, and I'm like, yes, okay, thank you. This makes sense. This is the more interesting person. This is the person you're friends with.
Well, that's always the interesting thing. That's always the thing about those movies to me is like the person that the main character is fixated on before they find the person they're supposed to be with is always so terrible. Like, which makes me question how what a prize that person is. If they're attracted to such a loser, like,
but Leah Thompson wasn't terrible. Leah Thompson wasn't terrible in that movie. She was
very concerned with their popularity.
She was a snob, and she was like sort of. She had found like popularity, even though she was one of the poor kids, and there was the only reason she found it was because she was pretty, and it got her a lot of access to the world. And so, if she went off with Eric Stoltz, that was going to cause problems. That was going to disrupt her world, and that doesn't make her inherently a bad person. It makes her a person who like has something and doesn't want to lose it. And I think that's a very hard thing to say, that
Has there
someone is
ever
bad.
been a movie where there's the protagonist who is in love or thinks they are in love with somebody who is really awesome, and somebody kind of equally awesome is the other person that comes up? That's like the friend
Ooh.
person, like a little like this, some kind of wonderful that, but you can still kind of see like her motives are maybe not. They're a little maybe more self-serving than.
Well, Ashley,
I
Does
can't
anybody-
believe you
me-
never saw Some Kind of Wonderful.
I feel like I have, because that image of, or maybe it just the
She played
trope of, like,
drums.
I
Mary Stuart
understand.
Masterson played drums.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like what's like the Breakfast Club and all those movies.
John Hughes.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
a John Hughes movie.
that's not like someone's like, we need a John Hughes type of movie.
Yeah.
We can't afford John Hughes or whatever.
I think it
Right.
is John Hughes. What were you going to ask me?
I don't
Nate?
think it is. I think it has nothing to do with John Hughes, except for they're trying to make it like John Hughes. Oh, I was going to ask, like, as an example of what you were asking, Matt, is Pretty in Pink that? Ashley, you answer the question. Is
Written by John Hughes.
Some Kind of Wonderful was?
Not directed by, but written by.
Oh,
Go
but
ahead.
written
Sorry.
by.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it wasn't. I thought I researched that and found out it wasn't after having thought it was for years and years. So, Pretty in Pink.
Pretty in Pink. So that's.
Is that like, you like both those male protagonists? They're both good in different ways or not?
John Cryer
Me?
and Andrew McCarthy?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah, are
I'm
they
asking
both
you.
like?
I think
Well-
Andrew McCarthy seems like the biggest dud in the world to me.
They
But I'm
all.
not
Oh
a
my
girl.
God! Yes, he seemed
Like,
none
compared
of
to-
no. That movie
James
was one.
Spader's the sexiest guy in that movie.
That movie did not speak to me on any real level. I liked Ducky. I thought he was funny and cute, but I understood like not necessarily wanting to date him because he was kind of a goober.
Yeah.
Andrew McCarthy was like a wet suit walking
Yeah.
around like a bunch of raccoons filled it out and then like got a man's head. Like it was just like nothing. There was nothing happening.
Is it so obvious to? I mean, was it so? Is it so obvious when you're watching that movie and you're a teenager and you're like, well, why is she wanting to be with that guy? Why
It
isn't
was
she?
to
like,
me.
He must
It
be
was
really
to
cool.
me
to
when I
you.
was a teen.
How
Yes.
does he
But
have
there must be
that career
something.
How does he have that career unless women think he's very, very cute?
Yeah.
I think
It's just
like
a
he,
character.
I understand. I think why people think he's cute. To me, he has it looks like his face never changed from being a baby.
He has just
like
big
it like did
eyeball
not.
acting.
He did not turn into a man.
So for you, it was just a purely.
No
I
offense,
physical-
never
Andrew
lost
McCarthy.
faith. I never
Well-
didn't believe in you. I didn't believe in me.
And his character. That is a remarkable impression.
Excellent.
His character was
First
also
time I've
like
tried that.
kind of a wet noodle. Like he just wasn't, and it was just sort
Right.
of like, I don't know,
Yeah.
what am I doing wrong? Like just like
That's
he was
what I mean.
oblivious. There was like a sweetness to him, but it was also like my thing about that movie is why does she like him?
Yeah, that's a question. Like, why does she?
And
like
then
him?
I can understand why he liked her because she was interesting and she wasn't the same as all the other girls he hung out with. Why? And I think she liked him because it was like the rich boy is going to pick me. And I was
Yeah.
like, boo hiss. That is a gross message. And then she makes the world's worst dress out of a very cute dress. And that I can't even deal with that part of it. Like that is a thing that is just so upsetting to me. I can't even like get into it. We could do a whole episode of how angry I am about that horrible dress.
So while we're on you, Ashley, and we're in the Brat Pack vicinity, what about Robert Downey Jr.?
I don't think I ever had a crush on him. I was like, I
Really?
liked him, but I don't think I ever had a crush. No.
I mean, talk about interesting male leads of that era, of that genre, those genres.
I think when I was older, I'd had some crushes on him, but like as a teen, I think he just didn't
His nose wasn't big enough.
register.
For
Yeah,
you.
he was a
Yeah.
little squirrely. I don't know. There was just something about him. Like I just
not
was
your
like,
type.
this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Similar to Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah.
Well, I think
But you
we
could
can
argue Rob Lowe is similar to Andrew McCarthy too, but whatever. He's better looking.
So, Matt, you and I
Yeah.
are as heterosexual as it gets. Given,
Sure. Yeah.
who would have been your teen crush? Were you a girl, or were you, or if you were gay? Like, I guess they're
Oh,
two different questions. I guess I don't know.
I
But
guess.
like, as far as male like pop celebrities,
Sure. Like-
Ashley mentioned Madonna. even
Yeah,
though-
I mean, I would
yeah.
say when she said Michael Stipe, I was like, yeah, that dude
Okay.
was so cool. because I love REM and I loved REM. So yeah, like
Mhm.
because and this is probably, and I'm talking just like purely talent and like just
Just
there's
charisma and
charisma.
like,
There's some sexuality certainly in
yeah,
like
and
his
sexual. They've got something
swagger.
going.
I
I
think like
think
that's
Michael
very
Hutchins is
interesting.
another good one that
Michael
like
Hutchins is a good one.
I would have had a huge.
Yeah.
I had a guy crush on him as a heterosexual guy crush.
Like, is
Same
this
with
like
Matt Dillon,
you
and
want to
same
be
with.
their friend? You want to be
Well, I
like
want to be them, or I want to be
them?
them. Like I tried to like, and I think I talked
Yeah.
to you about this when your kids were. One of your kids was like, so we were at the pool party, and he was so obsessed with his hair at the pool day at Jack's.
That's
And
gonna
I'm
be
like,
Keaton
Keaton, yeah,
for sure.
and I was like, oh, at the time I was like, how ridiculous that you're at a pool, but you were. Then I thought like, oh wait, when I was that age, I wanted my hair to look like Matt Dillon's.
Yeah.
Like I really would like. I like knew what I wanted my hair to look like.
Yeah, I would say like maybe a Michael J. Fox, just because so funny and like cool to me, like just a
Yeah.
cool guy. I would
I would have been Robert Downey Jr. for sure. Like I definitely had a boy crush on him.
Oh wait, I forgot my biggest weird one. In a
Oh.
way, weird physically and older. The older thing,
Pee Wee
Letterman.
Herman. Oh, Letterman.
Letterman.
That's a good one.
Huge crush on Letterman. Obsessed with David Letterman.
That's a great one. I like that. That's a nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice one. Yeah.
Did my question make you uncomfortable, Matt?
No, he
No.
answered it.
No. I'm trying to think if there's anybody
Well, you're
else. Are you
frozen, so
watching?
I can't.
Oh.
I'm getting like half. I'm not getting any.
I'm
like
so
real-
sorry. You're not getting anything back from me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. No, it doesn't make me uncomfortable at all because I mean I think there, even today I'm like there are people today that I'm like I'm
Yeah.
so like enamored of their talent or their charisma or and that's like a crush, I would think. It's
Yeah,
like
like a
just
talent crush or
absolutely like
Yeah.
there are people even today.
I think if I was a teen now, I would probably have a crush on who's God. I don't know anyone's name. Who's the big? She just won an Oscar for her song. And
Billie
she's with her
Eilish.
brother.
Billie
Billie
Eilish.
Eilish. I think I'd have a huge crush on her probably.
Yeah, I get
Yeah,
that.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, I think they do. Well, I mean, we could have gone on for like another full hour probably naming
And yet,
just crushes.
that silent moment makes me feel like we're
What?
done.
Well,
I mean,
we have
hit
been
a
going
lot.
for
We
a
hit
while.
a lot. Yeah.
Now,
It's a big topic. It's a big topic.
I do have I have a correction that I have to make from our.
Some kind of wonderful was not written by John Hughes.
No, it's not that. It's from our previous episode, which is about American Top 40, and we had my son Keaton. Now,
Yes.
after the episode, we did the game, right, where we named
Yes.
3 artists. Two were real, one was not.
And Keaton
Now-
was right.
Keaton came to me after and he goes, I made a mistake. And I was like, what are you talking
Oh.
about? He goes, well, I think the one that I said was not real, Lil Baby, is a real artist.
Ashley.
And I got confused. I think maybe he got confused in the moment. I'm not really exactly sure. I couldn't quite pin him down to like what it was. So his guesses were Yeet, or his offers were Yeet and Lil Baby and Baby Tekka. And
Yes.
and he said that Lil Baby was the fake one. And then
So
I
they were
think
all
he came
real.
back. I think they're all real. So
He's
Yeah.
never coming back on.
I know. Can you believe that? I mean, that's right.
So, we've talked about our crazy crushes, but what about other generations, huh? The generations before us, Annette Funicello.
Maybe I don't know.
Bobby
The
Darin?
Beatles.
The Beatles.
Probably.
Tab Hunter.
Tab.
3 of the
Elvis.
4 seasons, maybe.
3 of the 4 seasons. That 4th season was always just a dog.
Ah, poor guy.
That 4th season is like
Oh.
pinata action. You got to get you blindfolded to hit that shit. Nice.
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
never heard you say that.
That's a new one. For me. I didn't
Yeah.
make it
It's
up.
very good. Very
Someone
good.
else
I
has
like
been
it.
saying that, I'm sure. But what about the generation after us? The sweet, sweet millennials. We have a special guest, and her name is Franny Starkey. Franny, come on. Let's scooch.
Yay!
Let's scooch.
Yay.
And you guys were able to hear my what I was saying just then?
What's
Yeah.
that?
You could hear me.
Oh
what I
yeah, we
said
can
about the
always hear
pinata
you.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
That'd
can.
be a
We
shame
can.
if we
Yeah,
didn't
we
get
hear
that
you
in
all
there.
the time. I hear
Okay.
you.
We
even
heard
when
it all.
we're not on together.
So, Franny Starkey,
Hi, Franny. I'm Matt.
Just
Hey,
yeah.
Matt.
What would you
Nice
like
to meet
us
you.
to say about you, Franny? Before, other than that, you're my sister. Born in. Give us. When were you born?
1980.
1980.
July, summer of 1980.
So
So
you're
that's an
like
older
elder.
millennial.
That's elder millennial, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I'm like among the oldest millennials
Yeah.
there is.
Almost a Gen
Nice.
X,
You
I
might
would say.
be
Yeah.
the oldest millennial.
Yeah, I'm right on the cusp there. The oldest,
Yeah,
absolutely.
probably.
She's the very first millennial.
Would
Well, I
be in
think she would have
in
had
all
to
the
been born on
papers.
Yeah.
January 1st.
January 1st would be probably that. But I understand what you're saying, Nate.
Well, the weird thing is, none of us actually know when she was born. The actual day. She's never received a birthday present before in her life.
Well,
Sad.
that's millennials for you.
Franny's like an amazing businesswoman. She's a mom. She's
She
a
does it
great
all.
friend, a great sister-in-law. She's
You can bring home the
she
bacon.
has a
She
very
can fry it up in the pan.
come on. She has a very
When I say
impressive
you can bring
resume.
home the bacon and fry it up in the pan, do you know what that is? Have you heard that before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, the generational,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Franny has a very
Franny-
impressive resume that includes the White House on it, and that is more than any of the rest of us
She
can say.
worked for years in the East Wing.
Not a White House,
And
but the White House.
The
Oh, the White House. Okay.
The.
she worked in a White House.
That's pretty cool.
No black people
Yeah.
were allowed in that house.
Wait.
Wait, Nate,
What?
it was the
Hold on.
Obama White House.
It was the Obama House.
Huh.
Who are the Obamas? Are baby boomers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you've ever said that phrase? Because it sounded like it was. They are baby. What is the word? It is a
Boomers?
boomers.
All right. So if Ashley's done making fun of me, let's move on.
Never.
So, Franny, talk to us about your teen crushes.
Um,
And they can be celebrities, but they don't necessarily have to be celebrities. I guess that the topic is pop. We won't know who you're talking about, but we're interested in that time in your life when you're when you first find yourself crushing. And often it is with a celebrity. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. I was of the New Kids on the Block era. So I was very much into the Knight brothers, in particular Jonathan Knight. He was the older of, I believe he was the older of the two. There was Jonathan and Jordan. So yeah, I was a huge Jonathan Knight fan.
do you know all of the kids on the block?
Jordan, Jonathan, Donnie,
Wahlberg.
Joey, Wahlberg, Joey, and then there was that other kind of creepy dude. He was older, I think. I don't remember his name.
I can't name any of them.
What about?
I think that was all of them except for one.
I would have said Justin Timberlake.
That he's in NSYNC, Nate.
Exactly.
NSYNC. I think I was in college in the NSYNC era. Definitely loved some NSYNC, but I was probably a little too cool for NSYNC, or I thought I was too cool.
The New Kids on the Block were the first of the boy band explosion for your generation.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember being young.
I feel like you're leaving out Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike.
Do you have any idea who those people are? Yeah, that's a new addition.
Oh,
that was our generation's boy band.
It was one of them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If I love the girl, who
Ronnie,
cares who you
Bobby,
like?
Mickey and Mike.
If I love the girl, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I suddenly
didn't mean
can't
to-
hear Matt just as
Oh,
or anyone or anything.
I can hear that. Let's just move on.
I can hear you too.
Well,
I can hear you, Ashley. She doesn't.
and you are
hear me,
like
so.
so pixelated, Matt. Okay, now you're
I
better.
know. I don't know what
You got to
the
work
deal
on your
is.
connection. All right. So, Franny, New Kids on the Block. But which the specific one was Joey?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
I think he
Jonathan.
was- yeah. I
So
don't remember why so much, but that's what I remember.
I don't even say no. Obviously, Franny and I grew up in the same house for a time before I moved out. And she became an only child.
Well,
Did you have posters of Johnny?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
No, see, I was listening to your intro earlier and talking about like the merch and the posters and all the things, and I was like, oh, I wasn't that kind of person. Again, I'm like on the older end of millennials, and so, but even now, like I go to concerts, I don't buy merch typically,
nothing.
but like Another crush I had was 90210, Beverly Hills 90210 was a big deal for
Oh,
me.
sure.
Dylan McKay, Luke Perry.
Oh, right.
So both of them. It's not like you're a Dylan or a Luke Perry.
The same person.
Well,
Dylan.
played Dylan
Dylan
McKay.
McKay's character
Right.
played by Luke Perry.
But did you like Brandon?
Sure.
What
but
about
I was
Steve?
Obsessed.
Not Steve. You
No,
don't like
not
Steve?
Steve.
Poor Steve. No one likes Steve.
No,
Poor
poor Brian
Steve.
Austin Green.
Did you have
Oh.
any? No, girls like Brian Austin Green.
I'm sure they did. I'm just saying I didn't.
Yeah. Did
But
anybody
compared to
like
Dylan?
He weed though for a while on the show.
Right.
Yeah. Compared to Dylan,
he
though,
got
come
his
on.
dancing down.
Yeah. But so, like, I wasn't a poster person, but I watched the show. Like, I recorded on VHS. I like taped every show and watched it.
We
over
lost.
And over and over.
By the way, let's not pretend we don't know that we lost Ashley.
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah. But let's keep going until Ashley can figure out how to get back in. But still 90210. But you were more. I feel like 90210 was even maybe a little bit before you because you were Saved by the Bell girl.
I'm not sure. I like when I was in elementary school, Saved by the Bell was there, but by the time I got to high school, it was 90210 was like I'd be one of those people. I've watched every single episode. I probably watched it multiple times now. I'm one of those people who's like, I know where I was when Dylan and Brenda broke up. That's how obsessed I was with 90210.
I am not. I'm not mad at 90210. I watched 90210 in college.
You did?
I did too.
I did too. I liked it for like really campy kind of reasons. First of all, I was on like after I'd get home from college, like my classes would end at like 3 or something, and then I'd go home and just sort of like veg out time. 90210 would be on like in reruns, I guess. Maybe was it reruns? I don't know. But I would watch 90210.
No, it wasn't. It was on. Yeah, we watched it too. It was like appointment viewing for us. We would watch it every week with a group of people I went to college with.
Whenever it was on, I liked it. It was like one of those shows I like to make fun of while I watched it. I never watched Melrose Place, but I would imagine that was the same sort of vibe.
Yeah, I mean,
I did watch Melrose Place. I think, but yeah.
Yeah, we watched Melrose Place as well. And what was interesting about that show is it started out really, for lack of a better word, pure. Like everybody was friendly. They were all getting along. And then like they discovered that they needed it to be kind of darker and more like insane. And that show went cuckoo bananas crazy with like people dying or just like murders and crazy affairs and being burned. And it was insane.
All right. Before you say any more, I just want to see if Ashley knows what you're talking about right now. Because she came on Murders and what show?
No idea.
What TV?
Oh, a show? Law and Order?
But it started out very pure, but then became something different because, they needed to do that or ratings.
Maybe you never watched the show, Ashley.
I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar.
Seinfeld had to take a lie detector test to find out if you.
Melrose Place. Melrose Place.
Yeah, that's it.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Here and there. Yeah. I was more into 90210.
That's what we were just talking about.
I was saying my other crush was Dylan McKay or Luke Perry from 90210.
Did you, Franny or Ashley, know any women who liked Steve, who had a crush on Steve?
No.
Who is the woman who would have a crush on Steve? Does that woman exist? Did that girl?
Yeah, she would be older.
Okay.
She would be like, well, here's a question I have for Franny about New Kids on the Block, because I'm curious. I found this to be true as a Gen Xer. There was a band, Duran Duran. I was very into them when they came out, and everyone would pick who their favorite was, similarly to how you picked Jonathan Knight. Among your friend group, would you sort of try to make sure that everyone didn't pick the same person? And like, did you ever feel a pressure of like, well, I mean, Simon Le Bon, of course, is obviously the cutest one, but he would never really love me. He would probably pick Jennifer over me. So second choice would be John Taylor. But again, probably unlikely. So I guess I'll go with Nick Rhodes because no one else is going to pick Nick Rhodes because he was the one that seems most obviously gay. Just wondering if that was ever a thought. If this is an Ashley thing. 100%. I feel like I've talked to other women. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think everybody loved Joey and Jordan. Like those were the two people everybody went for. And in my brain, like if I ever have the chance, I can't go for Jordan or Joey. Like Jonathan is the chance I have in real life
Yes.
to find love, right?
This is
Okay,
so
this is a
female.
real thing. This is a real thing that exists. I've definitely talked to other women about it who are my age, and specifically about Duran Duran, and we all had the same experience.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed in a million years that was a thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
I think
seemed
women
weird.
are
No.
delusional and think all this is real. Could be real.
It seems real to me, but I don't understand it. But yeah. I guess I don't know. I don't get
It's
it.
like
I would never be
there's
like,
a combo.
I can't pick Belinda Carlisle because she's the
Right. Out of
That would
reach.
It was like a conscious choice, but it was definitely like I think I was working in the background of like
Yes.
working out the odds, and like
It's a
I was
weird
like, they love a woman,
combination.
you know,
It's a
unique.
weird combination of totally delusional and
Yeah.
some kind of self-deprecating logic.
Yeah,
So like
I
a
think
weird
both
marriage
delusional
of
and strategic
those.
at the same time.
Is it so? Like to me, it was just like, oh, that woman is like sexy to me or whatever, and it's like a physical attraction. It wasn't like,
can I be with that person? Is that someone I can be with? Like, will they? Can we? Was there a commitment in the works for us? That seems like that's
do
for
I have a
y'all.
chance? A real
That
chance?
was like, yeah.
Well, and it was also a thing because you wanted to be able to talk with your friends about it. And so if everyone was like, oh my God, Simon, yeah, I'm going to be with Simon. I'm going to marry Simon. No, you're not. I'll slit your throat and dance in your blood when I marry Simon. Like, you can't do that. So you've got to kind of like, everybody's got to pick someone so that we can be like, yeah, and then we'll travel with them and on their tours. We'll be best friends.
But you couldn't both be like you and your friend couldn't both want Simon?
I mean, no, like not in.
Fight over him.
Yeah, we don't. You don't want to be fighting about it, so it's like you had to sort of to keep. There was a lot of.
This is where you've made a
workings.
mistake. This is where you made a mistake because Simon is going to choose who he wants.
Simon's a person. He's not an object.
Right?
For you to
I
decide who he
know.
belongs
You
to.
know.
And I used logic to realize it was probably not going to be me. That I was going to have a bigger shot with Nick Rhodes, even knowing Nick Rhodes is very likely gay.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
So, Franny, did you play the cootie catcher game or the mash game?
Both.
So, who is the guy that you would choose? Is it Jonathan? You would choose in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think depending on, again, I think New Kids on the Block was more elementary school, and then when I got into like junior high school, it was more 90210. But it would have, my memory would have been Jonathan, and then we would have moved into.
So we've got like music star, pop star. We've got television star. Was there a movie star? Seems no.
No, I don't think so. I mean.
What was your favorite movies?
Well,
Oh my gosh.
I'm the daughter of two.
Again.
So your favorite movies were like.
I would have told you my favorite movie was like Taming of the Shrew, and like I named my hamster Henry V and stuff. Like I was.
Well, like so Leonardo DiCaprio in Romeo and Juliet. Like if you were like if you're so highbrow that you can only like a movie that is like Shakespearean and
for what when you told me this topic, those are the two people that immediately came to mind. I don't remember a lot. Like there's another person from the Mickey Mouse Club, the new version of the Mickey Mouse Club. He ended up like his name was Tony Luca. He ended up going into another show called like Malibu Shores or something that was awful and lasted a season, devastatingly for me.
Tony
but
Luca.
I think part of what Ashley's saying though is that. This delusional teenager is like obsessed with this person. Like I have no time. Like I'm gonna marry this person. Like I don't have time to expand my horizons and think of other people.
Yeah. Also,
I'm
you would
dedicated
really
and focused on my potential relationship with Luke. Yeah.
You committed until you were sure that wasn't going to work out, and then you moved on.
Yeah. I think so.
Well, let me ask you this then: was there a more obscure choice, like someone that so when you're first feeling those like, oh, that person's cute, so it doesn't have to be a big star, right? Like.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Was there like just someone you saw in a thing and you didn't have to know the actor's name, but it's like that person like really titillated your teenage self?
Oh boy.
This is an awkward topic to like have my sister guesting on, but
but did that mean like I wouldn't remember their name? Like there was a bunch of there was like a young kids soap. Like there was a version of a soap opera for, I know like even 90210 is a soap opera, right? But there was like a really like dedicated soap opera with Sarah Michelle Gellar called Swan's Crossing or something terrible like that. And I was obsessed with it. And there was a guy, like Sarah Michelle Gellar's like crush on that show. I was like in love with. I couldn't tell you who he was.
Not even the character's name or whatever, but you remember that.
All I remember is Swan's Crossing, teenage soap opera, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
That's great.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
That's interesting.
That I was.
Swan's Crossing, Ashley. Anything Swan's Crossing?
Never heard of it. I'm looking it up right now.
I'll be honest, I think I've never found another person who ever watched that. But like I remember like making my parents get me home in time, like at times so I could go watch Swan's Crossing before I could record it or whatever else. It was
Shane
Crossing.
Tom Carroll, a Shane McDermott, a Devin Doherty.
Shane McDermott.
Is that
okay?
Yep.
Is that a Delbert McRooney's brother?
It would have to be Dermot Mulroney or Dylan McDermott, and neither of those names have anything to do with Shane McDermott. Oh, I guess Dylan McDermott. Yeah, okay, he
That's
could
what
be.
I was thinking. Yeah.
Movie star. I always had a thing for. I really loved Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Far too old for me.
No, but
regard, but like Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
The Big Chill.
Yeah.
He was great in that. What?
This is the Shane McDermott.
Yep.
Is that him?
Oh yeah, he's cute as can be.
Yeah, that looks
I
right.
met Kevin Costner in real life.
Oh, you did? Like at the White House?
No, he came to do. So his son goes to University of Colorado Boulder, and I was working on the Obama campaign. And they have what they're called surrogates who come out and like do events for that candidate to get people to go out and vote or whatever. And so Kevin Costner came out to do a tour of Colorado and get people to vote for Barack Obama, who he was, whatever for. And I planned his trip and had to travel around with him around the state. And he had just produced an album with his band.
Spoken word?
No, his band. And he played it on repeat all day.
He did?
For 12 hours.
What a weirdo. And did your crush die?
Yes. Yeah.
He killed it.
He truly,
what a weird thing.
For truly, because we drove from Pueblo to Fort Collins to Estes Park to all over the place, which is all over the state for like 12 hours, and he played that album.
Kevin Costner, if you're listening, defend yourself in the comments below.
Okay, yeah.
That's
interesting. Though I love the older crush is interesting to me too, right?
Yeah.
And then like, when does that crush die? Is it like because they get too old, or in your case, it's a very personal reason because you actually had it? Yeah.
They're playing their own music nonstop to a captive audience.
I'm just gonna say maybe they were. Maybe he hadn't. Had it been released? Maybe it hadn't been released yet, and he's like listening to it and doing notes and going like, I need to sing that again. Or,
don't come up
maybe
with
not.
excuse. Don't come
I'm
up
just
with
thinking like maybe.
Even if that was the case, there's a crazy little thing called headphones. Let's just be kind to everybody else. Let's be considerate.
We're all wearing them.
That's true.
Costner, you know what they are.
Yeah. Yeah, but maybe his ear holes are small.
Whatever, but yeah.
Well,
that's unacceptable.
What did you think of the song?
It's a little weird.
Or the music?
Yeah, I think if I had liked it, I would have been okay with it going on and on for 12 hours. But yeah, no.
Wow.
The first run
that's
was
too long
for me. Yeah.
Right. That's like fair.
Much.
Like, we're going to listen to your album. Great.
Band or any of his
I never knew he was doing that.
Exactly. So.
Yeah.
I will say my mom
drove me out to Kansas when I was going to school, she dropped me off at school, and she had one CD in the car, and it was Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson, A Star Is Born, and we played that one CD for 10 hours.
I mean, just turn on the radio at that point.
I know, but
you got to change it every
when you're in the middle of
nothing.
Nothing, you don't get good radio reception.
And that's why it's great that there's now satellite radio.
Yeah.
If you have it.
Franny never knew a time when there wasn't satellite radio. She's so young.
Oh.
No,
really?
1980.
1980. I don't know about that.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, you're being an absolute creep.
All
Any
right.
other
Well,
questions about
yeah, Franny. Any other
crushes?
questions? I know we have to wrap you because you have to go pick up the girls.
Do I have questions? I don't have questions.
No, we have questions for Franny or any other thoughts on teen crushes.
Well, I did have something. Oh, I did have a question about New Kids on the Block, just because I don't remember how, I don't know how it works. But so if you were a fan of Jonathan, um, eh, like, would you know which songs were that he was like the primary singer on, or were they always all singing like little bits and pieces throughout the songs? I don't know how they worked.
Well, a little blockhead education for you.
Yeah.
Really, the main singers were Donnie and Jordan and
Oh.
Joey.
Okay.
Jonathan and
Oh.
the other guy whose name I can't remember.
Danny. I looked it up.
Danny, yes. Did
They
not
didn't. No leads.
sing as much or didn't have solos. I think actually, like, as it turned out, Jonathan had huge stage fright or something. So that's part of why they stopped performing and do anything, because he couldn't like take the pressure.
I think there was an episode of Maury Povich or something like
about that.
Yeah. They do actually. They just literally came out with new music. I'm very excited because New Kids on the Block has new music.
How is it? Did you like it?
Oh, I've heard one song on like some daytime talk show. It's called Kids.
I pray.
It sounded great.
I just pray that if you ever have to spend like 12 hours with Jonathan in a car driving around Colorado, that he doesn't just have that on like for 12 hours, just the same song, because that would be crazy.
It would probably ruin it for me, although it would be better, I'm sure, than what I experienced. They actually they do New Kids on the Block has like a cruise every year that literally sells out. They take like thousands. I don't know this only because of the work that I do now, but they literally like thousands of people go every year on a 7-day cruise with New Kids on the Block.
And they're all your age, probably. Huh?
Yes, no, they're all.
It's probably a good time.
New Kids in the Ocean.
If it was in town.
Yeah.
I wouldn't spend Taylor Swift money on it, but I would go.
But they've toured, right?
Yeah, I think
if anyone could get tickets to New Kids, it'd be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
sure.
you just haven't done it. You didn't have time.
Well, again, I'm not the person who buys the merch or does all that sort of stuff.
But to go, you like shows.
Yeah.
But why haven't you gone to see them, Franny?
Well, I don't think they've come to Colorado recently.
Okay. You can
I don't know that they've been touring recently.
No, I was just saying they have new music. Ash, they have a new album coming out. There's a new song called Kids, I think. I saw it on the Kelly Clarkson.
I'll tell you, June 28th, they are coming to Ball Arena in Denver.
Nice.
Ball Arena, Denver, June 28th.
Get those tickets now, Franny.
I'll be there.
You should.
I just went to the Madonna concert last week.
She didn't go on until 10:30.
I know.
Called for 8:30.
Same thing with Kelly and I went to see her as well at Barclays Center here, and we waited 2 hours for her, and that drove me. I got a little angry because I didn't know that was going to happen, and I was not happy.
Yeah, I had heard, so I showed up late. That helped. Pre-game, that helped. But she sounded great. I think I'm okay for a version of Madonna that is evolved. I don't need to see Madonna in like the same costume, same looks that she's done for the last however many years. Like I'm down for an evolved new Madonna.
I agree.
So
you know what? I agree. There was a time when she did, I think, a record. Kelly's a big fan of Madonna, so I don't have to tread lightly. But when she did her Frozen era, that record Frozen, and it was just like long hair and just like a nice dress. I thought, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah,
she doesn't need to be wearing what she's.
She doesn't need to be in corsets and chains, and I don't need it.
There was a time for that. There was a burlesque club in New York called the Slipper Room. And I went there one night with a few folks, and Madonna showed up to watch the show and like took over. Like there's like a couple balconies. It's not a huge club, but it's not a small club. So it's big enough that there's a couple different levels. And she like closed off one of the balconies and just sort of watched the burlesque show.
Was I there?
No, you were not there.
Oh, I was like, I don't remember this at all. I don't even remember you telling me this.
No, I'm sure I told you, but let's talk about this later.
Thank you, Franny.
Thanks, Franny.
Bye.
We love you.
Thank you.
So yeah, we got to figure out next week. Matt, I think you are doing the honors. Yes.
And who's up?
I think it's me.
It's you. Okay.
I think it's me. So it'll be another one unprepared. absolute garbage intro compared
I
to
guess
y'all.
that's just your brand now.
It might be.
Well, maybe I'll prepare.
Like you've let yourself off the hook by making that your brand.
Yeah, a little bit.
Our topic next week is... Is it backwards? Yes. Our middle name is Danger.
Oh, our middle name. Okay,
no
I will
culture.
I will prepare for this. So dangerous, no helmet culture. What's great about this is you've been frozen this entire section, Matt. So you could just be pulling this from wherever.
It's the most dangerous thing that you did, or the worst playing injury. That's our topic for next time on Solve for Gen X.